Okay, anybody? Okay. Trying to see who comes in. Myself. I guess I'll start, and people have to rewatch it. The topic is the different cultures about folklores on snakes and serpents, ranging from Medusa from Greek mythology to the Native Americans. All the snake lores appear around the world, mainly usually for religious purposes, leadership role, telling tales, and stuff like that. Sometimes the religious or medical people, medical medicine men, or that usually have snakes involved, and snakes and serpents usually appeared in as good or bad or neutral. Some then be known as deities or gods, godlike. Others more spiritual bound, or like tricksters, and or a symbol of tribes or group of people. Serpents are sometimes used to land or guard the land of the dead or the underworld. Serpent or snakes are symbols of immortality, rebirth, transformation, and healing. Hi, Darius. How you doing? Ancient Greeks consider snakes sacred to Asclepius, the god of medicine. The Oropus, or I can't pronounce it, Oropus, or circle or hoop, is a rebirth of an endless cycle of destruction and creation. And that's usually the Egyptian one, but I've seen Native Americans have a hoop snakes. Also, serpents are featured as sly creature, like in the Bible, that who tempts Adam and Eve to eat from the to disobey the commands of the God by eating from the forbidden tree. Um, they also in Christian beliefs in that is that snakes and serpents are considered evil. They have Saint Patrick in Ireland is an example of having to destroy to have driven away snakes as a sign of some miracle powers, and that as in the beliefs. I'm not too familiar with Saint Patrick to know much about his story. In India, they have the Nagas of the Hindu and Buddhist religion, so serpents as good and evil, and hopes and fears. They have snake gods, including fully human with heads and with and also heads of humans this on the serpent bodies. Nagas usually live in underwater or underground kingdoms. Hello to the three in the chat. They control pain and interacted with deities and humans. There's also dragons can be sometimes be combined with snake-like qualities with features of humans or animals. Um, Acidna in Greek mythology was a half woman and half serpent monster whose offsprings were dragons. Cyclops was a cultural hero to the Athenians. Cyclops is a snake-like deity. In Toltec and Aztec myths, they have Quetzalcoatl, which is the feather serpent held in an important place, which I will be covering that later. Medieval Europeans have basilics can kill victims with their looks or breaths. Basilisks sometimes been reported to the Greek mythology. Melusine European folklore was part woman, part fish, and snake. Had to spend one day a week in water. For the deal about the cultural deity is god or goddess, cultural hero is mythical figure who gives people the tools of civilization like fire and language. Myths put emphasize the fighting or evil aspects of serpent snakes, portrayed then as the enemies of deities and humans, which Medusa, the Gorgons, and North myths like the Midgard serpent that was wrapped around the earth, around the butter tree. Hi Nova, how you doing? Nidhogg was an evil serpent coiled around the roots of the Nagas. Nagas, the can't pronounce it. The road tree. Ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt. Apopis was a demon who appeared as a serpent who attacked Ra, the sun god. Mihia, another huge serpent coiled himself around Ra's sunboat to protect Ra from a puppet. In many folklore around the world, mythical snakes had access roles such as creating the world, protecting protected it, and help humans. In the For people in West Africa, tale of the serpent whose 3,500 coils support the cosmic ocean in which the earth floats. Another 3,500 coils support the sky humans. The Aborigine people of northern Australia tell how the great rainbow snake, Durango, saved the world. When human blood dropped into his water hole, Durango grew angry. He sent a wave of water washing across the earth, and he swallowed people, plants, and animals. Durango reared up toward heaven, but an ant can't read that. Bit him and made him vomit up what he had swallowed. This happened again and again until he departed from earth, leaving people, plants, and animals behind. According to a story of the Gano Indians of California, humans obtained many secrets of civilization from a huge serpent named Umai Halia. This serpent lived in the ocean until people performed a ceremony and called him onto the land. They built an enclosure for him, but it was too small to hold him. After Umai squeezed as much of himself into the enclosure, he was set on fire. Soon the serpent body exploded, sounding the earth with knowledge, secrets, songs, and other cultural treasure he had obtained. Pertained. Sea serpents, mystery, mysterious serpents occurred not just in ancient myth, but in modern legends as well. People have reported seeing huge snakes or snake-like monsters at seas or in lakes. Marine scientists admit that creatures yet unknown may inhabit the depths. Has in the depths. No one has produced reliable evidence of an entirely new sea serpent yet. Most likely, the mysterious creatures seen swimming in the water surface are bunches of seaweeds, floating logs, rows of porpoises leaping into the air, giant squid, or common sharks or sea lions. In some of the tales and legends, some snakes have their serpents brought chaos, which is a great disorder or confusion. And the cosmic bodies is large or universal scale having to do with the universe. Now we're going into some more details of some around the world. traditions and tales and myths. Hindu myths, Kalaya was a five-headed serpent king who who poisoned water and land until the god Krishna defeated him in battle. Kalaya then worshipped Krishna, who spared his life. Kadru was a snake goddess who bore 1,000 children. Legends say that they still live today as snakes in human form. One of Kadru's was a roach snake, or one of Kadru's children was a roach snake that the gods used to turn a mountain and stir up the ocean, just as people churn milk into a buttery into butter by using a rope coiled around the stick or paddle. As the god churns the ocean with the snake, many precious things arose from it, including the moon, can't read it, that serpent tree, and the Amartha or water of life. Now the basilisk I was talking about, it's a dragon's body and rings and serpent's head, which appeared first in the ancient Greek and Roman mythologies. The Medusa or Gorgons and all that have hair of snakes, viper body of a woman, or upper body of a woman, a head of a woman, and lower body of a serpent. Now we're going to the Native American. In Quetzalcoatl, thousands of years, Quetzalcoatl was one of the most important figures in Hi skies above. How you doing? Figures in traditional mythologies of Mesoamericas. As deity, cultural heroes, or legendary rulers, Quetzalcoatl appear in some regions most powerful and enduring stories. He represented life, can't read that, laughter, health, sexuality, and the arts and crafts of civilization, such as farming, cooking, and music. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you for joining. The name Quetzalcoatl means feather serpent. It brings together the mega. What I can't read it again. I'm sorry, I can't read my writing at times. The green plume Quetzalcoatl bird, symbolizing the heavens and the wind, with snake symbolizing the earth and fertility. Quetzalcoatl's name can also be translated as precious twins, and in some myths he had a twin brother named Jolote, who had a human body and the head of a dog or of an ocelot, a spotted wildcat. Yeah, it's a more of a, let's say, a story of the or going through the talking about the aspects of the culture around the world have to do with snakes and Nagas and Gorgons and Medusas. It it kind of represents the cultures of each group of people, a religion or native or you you name it. Um, Pantheon of the Aztec people of central Mexico, but dates back to a time long before the Aztecs. Images appeared in temple buildings of Teotihuacan from the AD 200s. These images are found with images of rain and water, suggesting close ties between Quetzalcoatl and the god of rain and vegetation. Excuse me for a minute. Okay. The Toltecs viewed him as a deity of morning and evening stars and winds. Aztecs made him a cultural hero, a bringer of life and civilization. Mayans named him Kukulkan, the god. According to some accounts, Quetzalcoatl was the son of the sun and earth goddess Kalikuko. He and brother gods created the sun and the earth. In Aztec creation myth, Quetzalcoatl, cosmic wind god Tezcatlipoca, brought about the creation and death and destruction of a series of four suns and earths, leading to the fifth sun and today's earth. The the new earth had no people under the fifth sun. Him and his brother enter Meclan, which means underworld, to gather bones arousing the fury of the Death Lord. As he fled, he dropped the bones and they broke into pieces. He gathered them up and took them to Earth Goddess Sakurakato, or which it means snake woman, who ground them into flour. Quetzalcoatl moistened the flour with his own blood, which gave it life. Then he and Jolote shaped the mixture into human form and taught the new cre- cre- creations how to reproduce themselves. In some other cultures, Native American culture, would have snake gods. Awana, which is Pueblo. Colechico is Aztec. Horned serpent is Eastern tribes, which is sometimes the Cherokees. Pitiskok is Abenaki. Quetzalcoatl is Aztec, Sitalili is Hopi and Juni, Snake Woman is Caddo, Toy Snake is the Southern tribes, and Anktihi is Lakota Indian serpents. And Nakata Mayan people, it means people of the serpent. Okay. Now, Native American legends about snakes. You have the mother of serpents. Raksasa Dev, stories of stories about an overproud overproud woman giving birth to the first snake. Pima snake story. Rattlesnake brought death into the world. Coyote sounds the snake. Coyote and never grows larger, which is southern plains. The woman who loved the serpent, the rolling head, case of the severed head, the Sundance wheel, Hap, uh, Arapaho. Then you have the Hopi snake dance. The big-footed snake legend is the Blackfoot. Glooskap and the snake story is rude men being turned into snakes. The snake husband, woman who was led astray by a rattlesnake to become his bride. The girl who um, endured the thunders or thunder sun. The moon and the great snake myth. A tale of Calcula, which is all the different stories of the Aztecs. The man who turned into a snake, which is Caddo, and Snake Woman distributes seeds. We have other tales around the world. You have the Ireland with the St. Patrick's. St. Patrick drove out drove the snakes out of Ireland. Leviathan from the Book of Job, which is be kind of controversial argument if it's a snake or if it's something else. Legend of the White Snake, Mahia being put in a whatever driven by snakes. The Hydra of Lerna, the serpentine goddess of ancient Minoan civilization. Rajet, Egyptian serpent goddess. Ammon, god who can turn into a snake. Nihibikhan, Egyptian two-headed snake guarding the underworld. As you could see, all these legends and stories appeared around a road. It's usually the legends about or tales of the snake usually bring a story or like a fable or legends of heroes, or they're portrayed as deities or monsters, name it. And you could see that some of these snake stories, usually you have good, neutral, and evil. Snakes also being used in ceremonies for witnesses or healing purposes up to this day in some cultural, or in some weird Christian beliefs, like in churches. In some weird churches, they have rattlesnakes in their church and dancing around and all that. I think they're crazy for doing that. Um, then you have we do have good snakes too in nature, like the garter snake, corn snake, or any other snakes that get rid of vermin from our crops or rodents out of underneath our house and all that. And then you have the poisonous snakes, which you have to avoid, or the snakes that could crush you to death. There are also stories about giant snakes like the boa constrictor, the rock pythons, and the big giant anacondas that could swallow a man whole. They haven't found a proof that they could swallow a man whole, but most of the photos you see online, I believe those were mostly staged to make it look like snakes are could swallow a man whole, because their heads are not, their jaws can't pass get past the shoulders of a man. And then you could see these Nagas, Gorgons, Medusa, snake people in stories, books, um, music, movies, TVs, you name it. Usually the snakes are mostly in horror movies, portraying them as evil creatures that will get you. There's other movies like the Gorgon of the 60s, or Class of the Titans is a good example of Medusa. There's there's movie that I saw last year that had to do with Naga, that starred people from Bollywood and from the U.S. that had to do with Nagas. You have the snake people type type creatures. It's It's like a human-shaped body with the heads of snakes and all that. And then you have starring Dirk Benedict was a one where he turned into a snake. All these movies, books, TV shows take their basic ideals and all that from myths and legends and folklores of old and make it into a new spin into them. It's like the goat man that I talked about before. The goat man was an ancient Greek known as a satyr, and the leading deity of the satyrs is Pan. And today they twist it into the satyrs to something evil that will attack you. It's just like they do with these snakes and serpents. Yes, you do. If you do something bad that angers these deities, you get punished for them. So that's the only bad part of that. So anybody have any questions? Okay, since it seems nobody else is here, I thank for the ones who did show up, and thank you for being here. I will come on live tomorrow to do a talk about cryptids. Hey Eli, I was going to end it because nobody showed up really, and I got through all I was going to talk about. I think it's just you and me here, Eli. A lot of other people were on live or online. They're online. They've gone live at the same time I am. So that's probably why I'm not getting the people that I used to. Yeah, Jenny's on. Roots is still on. So many people. Well, I thank everybody who's stopping by. Shoot, I didn't get the notification, Eli. A lot of people are saying they're not getting notifications. And usually when I do when I do get notifications, they come in after it's over. Okay. I'll talk to everybody later. See you the next time.